purpose-driven innovation in my world means operating at the intersection of delivering outcomes. Execution is key, ideas are cheap.
Purpose, of course, as humans, what drives us is purpose. Today, getting up, all of the other things is all kind of the side effects of that, right? Money and life and all of those. So everyone needs a purpose day to day. So when you think as a company, it becomes even more important.
When I think about purpose-driven leadership, especially during this time, it's really all about, I think, being core to who you are and being authentic, really knowing and understanding yourself.
I agree with you. I don't see a challenge between purpose and profitability. I actually see that they can go hand in hand together. And so I think resiliency and agility are absolutely critical for purpose-led organization, as long as that organization is very clear on what their North Star is.
Well, I always look at the purpose and everything that we do is the why. It's the value. It's what drives the motivation and drives the passion. A lot of times you're wanting buy-in. You're wanting people to be as passionate about something as you are, whatever that may be. And to do that, if you start with the why, if you start with what value you're going to be bringing, then it actually will drive that passion and drive that motivation in the execution process of that.
Profit doesn't come from the desire for profit. Success doesn't come from the desire of success. Now, we all have it out there. Let's not be naive, or that's the model.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Windwire's purpose-driven virtual fireside chat. Today's topic is lifestyle and purpose, bringing wellness to communities. I'm happy to introduce you to our host, Ashu Goel, the CEO of Windwire, who will be interviewing our expert guest panelists, Marij Ziler, the CIO of the Bountiful Company. Welcome, Ashu and Marij.
Thank you very much, Bianca. Marij, good to have you join us. Thank you very much for taking the time. It's truly a pleasure to have you. For the folks who are joining us for the first time, it is a topic that is very close to our heart around purpose-driven innovation. As we've been hosting this fireside chat series through the COVID times when we can't meet in person, and we are inviting industry leaders, executives, entrepreneurs, thought leaders to come and share their insights into how they think about purpose-driven innovation in their industries and overall. And so, and we've been running it for a while right now, and quite excited to have Marij join us today. Before I introduce her, just one word for folks who are joining us for the first time. My name is Ashu Goel. I'm the CEO of Windwire. We are a data-driven digital engineering firm. We do a lot of solutions that we build for organizations, helping them gain competitive advantage. And we do it with a process called stitching the digital fabric. So if you want to know more about it, you can always find us on our website at winwire.com. I'm really passionate about this idea of purpose-driven innovation. And to me, it means it's not just profit that should drive an organization, but purpose as well. And in certain cases, purpose is more even important than profit, while you have to keep a balance as an organization, since we don't do just for not-for-profit. We have an equally balanced view of things. And so with that, we keep bringing in leaders who can come and share. And who better to have this discussion with during this time than Marij Ziler. She currently serves as the CIO of Bountiful Corporation, which used to be Nature's Bounty. And it's very interesting. Their tagline is where science meets nature and nature meets science. They've been, especially during the COVID times, it is even more relevant what she's going to talk about. Marij brings in more than 20 years of technology leadership experience to the CIO role. She has a passion for enabling companies to achieve business value out of their technology. That's the reason we align very well. Prior to joining Nature's Bounty or the Bountiful Corporation, Marij was CIO of Dairy Farmers of America, or DFA. At DFA, she led the transformation of the IT organization into an agile, business-focused organization. Under Marij's leadership, DFA became one of the first large enterprises that successfully migrated to the cloud while modernizing the technology architecture, automating insourcing IT, and reducing spend. So it's really my pleasure to welcome Marij to our fireside session. Pleased to have you here.
Thank you, Ashu. Happy to be here, and I'm really looking forward to our conversation today. Just very excited to be here. And we were just contemplating. I was in California last year around this time, okay, and just hard to imagine that this is less than a year ago, and how much has the world changed and in the last year, and how much has technology been an enabler for people to still have a life that allows them to connect with other people and work and do all the things that they're passionate about. So very excited to be here.
Very true. No, we are delighted. In fact, that's the reason, since in my office I have a Montana jersey and we were in the 49ers game last time, I decided to do not in my library, but really the session out of my office. Just a reminder of where we were, as you said correctly, a year back, watching games and getting into playoffs, and here we are on that. But thank you very much, and glad to have you over here. Marij, since we have a very limited time, as we get started, I talked about a little bit what does it mean to me, this purpose-driven innovation and this combination of purpose and profit. I would love to have you spend maybe a few minutes on this. What does it mean? How does Bountiful, what you guys are doing, fits into it? And what, if anything, has changed over the last, during the times of COVID? Would love to get some of your insights.
Sure. So the mission of the Bountiful Company is to really enable people to live a healthier life. And that really, we are a big believer in the fact that nutrition is a very relevant element for achieving better health outcomes and leading a healthier life. So one of the things that I think is very important to our mission is that we want to make it easier for our consumers to engage with our products. And it's kind of very similar to technology in a way. When you look at technology, there's servers, there's apps, there's all these type of things. But at the end, as a technology provider, I need to deliver my business partners a solution. And we do the same when you look at our products. When you think back about growing up, you had all these vitamins, did you need C, D, or E? And really, you want a specific outcome. So our goal is in terms of enabling people to lead healthier lives is to make it easier for them to engage with our product category. Because, you're not interested in, taking A or B or whatever. You're really interested in a specific outcome that really meets your lifestyle. So one of the things that we are really focused on is, I think it's twofold. One is, finding ways to formulate product that focuses on achieving specific outcomes, whether, whether you want, we're doing a lot of work on specific need states that are very prevalent. Stress with COVID is definitely one that is big focus. People are in front of their PC all the time. Focus is more challenging. So we're working on developing specific formulations to support that. So we're really looking at the need states and helping it and making it easier for people to navigate the very complex product portfolio. The other thing is really, there's an incredible amount of science and knowledge globally across the world about ingredients. I mean, I know, Ashu, you're originally from India. Obviously, there's lots of, botanicals and, that have really proven that maybe your grandmother or was recommending you use, that have really proven benefits. And, I think one of the things that we're very excited about is to also use, the science of nature, things that are natural products to really help people achieve better health states, because it's not necessarily about, just the Western medications or the Western ingredients. It's really about that global view and taking the collective knowledge from the world in terms of, sourcing ingredients that really meet health outcomes that people are looking for. I think a big one is obviously turmeric is a huge ingredient. You eat, it's in the Indian food. In the US, we consume it as a dietary supplement. So but it's a great example of how this global knowledge base that is out there. We are using that to really build and support better health outcomes for our consumers.
I think that's great. And I think, just because of what you do as a corporation is so in line with fundamental purpose and a bigger purpose of driving wellness into the communities, I'm assuming it's easier for you to align and have a purpose-driven mindset when you are working for an organization like that. But do you see that, at DFA and other places, can others also have that kind of a mindset and not just driven by profit, in your view?
Absolutely. I mean, I think, DFA is a very good example because it was a cooperative. It wasn't a profit-driven organization. The cooperative was there to really help the members be more successful running their farm. And I think in general, when you look at purpose, it's always great to align to the purpose of the company. So, if you look at the Bountiful Company, we bring wellness to our customers. But, if you translate that into, the IT department, I feel, a strong purpose that, in a way, we bring tech wellness to our users. There's, actually technology stress. There's lots of studies about that. Technology stress is the second largest stressor for people, right behind congestion on the road. So given that, nobody's driving to work right now, I'm guessing that I am now the biggest stressor for people in the workplace. And so are all of us. Okay. So, I think when you look at our purpose is, we want a healthy work environment. We want people to be successful at work. And given the place of technology right now for people to get their work done, we are instrumental to enabling a productive workplace where people can operate effectively without being worried or stressed about, is their technology going to work? So, when you look at that purpose, it becomes real. I mean, when we don't do our jobs correctly, we create stress in every person's job. So we have a big job, especially with COVID, to get it right, and a big responsibility. So we take it very seriously, and as an organization, and my team particularly, to make sure that our users can work successfully in the new reality of working from home.
Absolutely. No, I think I completely agree with that. I think technology certainly is playing a big part in in basically enabling connections as well. So you can be remote, but you're still at least some bit connected. But it is also adding a lot of stress because you're connected all the time. So you're sitting at one place and seeing each other only through a screen and not having the human connect. I think that certainly matters. Building on that, Maria, talk to me a little bit about sort of women in technology, you becoming a leader. There are a lot of people on this session that join in. They want to hear, what path you took, or what were the key ingredients, and how can they model their career after a successful leader like you in technology. So if you want to spend a little bit of a time talking about any advice, guidance.
Yeah, so maybe just really starting at the very beginning, I actually was in training to become a brewmeister. I was working in a brewery in Germany doing apprentice work, and it was a long time ago, early 90s, and it was a fairly large family's own brewery, and they were implementing a piece of software called SAP, and I had never heard of that because I had a degree in chemistry, chemical engineering, and I was trying to get my brewmaster degree. And so I was the apprentice, and they asked me, well, do you know anything about computers? I'm like, yeah, I do. Actually, I've done a lot of, especially in chemical engineering, I've used a lot of these big computers to do calculations. I actually emptied my department's compute budget in like 20 minutes. Okay. So it was, so I love computers. So they said, well, then you're going to be, on the project team. So I got to know this, at that point in time, this very small German company called SAP. And, I loved it so much. I loved it more than making beer. So after I graduated, I got to know the people at SAP, and that's how I ended up working in technology. So I've never studied computer science, but I definitely I've learned everything I know about computer science through doing, and it's still my passion. And what I like most about it is it's the constant change. There's no other industry that has this cycle of always finding better ways to either deliver technology or build applications or engage users, and then that's just absolutely fascinating. It's there's always something new to do, and I love that about working in technology. There's always something better. That is very, very attractive. I'm not driven by, I think what has propelled me in my career is not necessarily my desire to have a bigger job. It really what propels me and where my passion is, it's my curiosity. I am always curious about, new things and finding better ways to do things, but also being somebody that educates a team on seeing the art of the possible and looking at what we can do if we embrace new ways of working. So really that's my big motivator. It's curiosity, and then finding ways to apply it to build better outcomes, which probably comes from my engineering background. I mean, that's typical engineering, is to look for solutions. So that's really where my passion is coming from. Yes.
Yeah, no, very true. And having worked with you, we know that you're always asking questions and trying to see how to make things better, which is awesome. I think curiosity. So for all the sort of the young listeners, I think the key message I would say is really be curious, get driven by your passion and not just the role or growing in your role and career ladder. Those things will automatically come, I think, if you do these things well. And the second thing you were talking about, always trying to improve and always trying to do things. Maria, if you take a look at the recent announcements, I mean, the digital transformation, the cloud, Microsoft just announced their results yesterday. and blew past the quarter estimates. I think that that transformation is only speeding up. I think it's not slowing down. So it's a great place for you and I to be in helping companies realize that potential, whether from inside like you're doing or outside like we are doing. Keep helping them transform, leverage it better. A lot of the online shopping has increased dramatically. I don't think it's going back to the old days. I think it will be a new reality after COVID. And on that, I wanted to get your perspective. What do you see as sort of some of the key trends that you have seen over the last 1-2 years that you think are going to be sustained beyond, the end of COVID scenario?
So I think one of the things that I think is going to get sustained. When I look at my organization, when this, I think there's a good saying. McKinsey kind of like said it very well. They said planning is out, strategic dashboards are in. Okay, so I think where people and even we as an IT organization, we're very focused on developing strategic plans and roadmaps. I think what's been very interesting in this time of incredible change, and there was something new happening every day. I think what really kind of came to light for me is the power of quick decision making and quick implementation. And so, whereas maybe before you were more longer term focused and more intentional about things, our operating model as a company and also as an IT organization has dramatically changed to like just focusing on, we've got frameworks and we know where we want to go, but we focus much more on finding ways to get there quickly in a more agile fashion than we have ever done before. So it's kind of put in an interesting perspective on, like the fact, that, the analysis paralysis is really out of the window. And I think that the fact that, that being agile and nimble it's really shown his value. So when I look at, my organization and even the company's organization, I feel like we're moving faster in terms of making decisions and executing them than we've ever done before. And I don't think that's ever going to go away because, I think companies have seen the value of moving and adopting quickly and what it brings in terms of either additional sales or whatever outcome you want to do. I think that is not necessarily going to go away that quickly.
That's very interesting you say that. I think a very, very good insight that speed of execution is really name of the game now. And iterate, right? We do it in software, but I think at a corporate level now people are starting to iterate, try new things, fail fast, or move to the new things, but execute rather than think. I think it's a combination of those two elements.
And if you look even at our product portfolio, I mean, obviously immunity is a huge, need state for many consumers. You look at the amount of innovation we've done around immunity and products we've launched in the marketplace. It's actually quite staggering. And it was interesting. I mean, like, I think, some people might have said, well, like there's going to be a vaccine. But I think that there's, it's a new habit, like health, I call it the 3 H's: health, hygiene, and home. Okay. You work from home. Obviously you do a lot of cleaning, okay, and disinfecting, and you worry about your health. And that health vector is really focused on immunity. So, you look at these, that need state, innovating in that space is super important for our consumers because they want to live a healthy life and stay healthy in this time of COVID.
Very, very well said. And I think that's, as you know, we do a lot of work in healthcare and life sciences segment. And I think it is brought home both not just the cure, not just the vaccine, not just the treatment, but really preventive measures. So as you're talking about immunity, I think everybody has become very concerned about, eating well, exercising, taking vitamin supplements. So I'm sure you guys have seen your business improve dramatically during these times. Most other companies that I talk to, Maria, is they're looking at, downturn due to COVID. Tell us a little bit more about how you guys are doing as an organization and any positive, negative on the business side. As a society, of course, we are suffering. But as a business and industry that you're seeing, what impacts have you seen during the COVID?
So, I think our business has done well, okay, because, we're in the H's category, okay? So, our business has done well. But I think we've done well as a business, which I think is super important. So one of the, we manufacture in the United States. Our main manufacturing locations are in New York and New Jersey, which was very hard hit by COVID early on. So one of the things that we had to really work on is to make sure that all of our workers, that are they're first line workers, they're in our plants, that they had a healthy and safe working environment. So we had to do that, before most of the guidelines and most of the knowledge was there. And I think, probably, what really makes me proud of being part of the Bountiful Companies is that the way that we worked as a team to make sure that our workplace was a healthy workplace and a safe workplace, so that everybody that had to be physically in our plants felt safe and good about working at the Bountiful Company. I think that was, if you look at about, as being a company that really cares about the employees that work for us, I think we did an excellent job really listening and making sure that we had a workplace that was as safe as we could make it with the knowledge we had at that point in time. So, I think a great, technology plays a role in that too, because we had finger readers, we had all kinds of things to make it easier for people to kind of like check into work. We had to change all of that rapidly. And so there was a lot of work that needed to be done to create that safe work environment.
Absolutely. And as you know, we are a company with our core value of people first. And so what you talked about, putting employees first, I think we are seeing that across the board. Organizations that have done well are the ones that have cared about their people, versus got completely shell-shocked and frozen with the changes that were going on in the COVID environment, and have reacted much better to it and are much better positioned to grow from that standpoint as well. So I completely agree. Looking at that scenario, Maria, as we get to close on that, we only have a couple of minutes. I'm certainly very excited about your views around technology trends. So I think one thing you did talk about, overall looking at wellness, but in the technology trends area, anything that you want to talk about that you see happening as we move forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing, there's a lot of innovation in our, in how we sell product, how we market product. I mean, I think everybody knows about that. But I think the thing that I'm most excited about, which is, it's a benefit and a threat to the Bountiful Company. It's the way we drive innovation in this category. So, we have, this is a category where there's lots of new brands, micro brands. We have new product. We have new categories of ingredients coming in, CBD. Like all of the, some of the forbidden ingredients. That are getting unlocked. So I think just the one thing that is really interesting is how the way we source science is changing. There's incredible sources of knowledge around, ingredients, health benefits, and I think there's companies in that space that are delivering content in a way that we haven't seen before, that are allowing a lot of companies in this category to innovate. So what it means for us is, that we just need to be leading in adopting those technologies as one of the largest, companies in that space. So, it's super exciting, and it's been very rewarding to work with our product development organization, implementing technologies that they never had at their fingertips to help them drive that innovation pipeline forward.
Absolutely, very well said, and what a way to end it. I think we came back to purpose-driven innovation, and what you guys are doing is so critical. Innovating at a fast rate, but with a purpose in mind, and differentiating. So I really enjoyed our conversation. I want to bring Bianca back.
Thank you, Ashu and Marij. We're now going to open up the floor for our live Q&A, where you can ask our panelists any questions you may have. If you haven't already, please type your questions into the Q&A chat box. We actually have, let's see here, I'll pull up the Q&A. We have a couple comments. Satish writes, thanks, Marij, for taking us into nostalgia, reminding of grandma remedies, examples of turmeric as an antiseptic, was an instant recall, and he thought that was great. Okay, so our first question comes from Nick. Have you experienced any disruptive innovations?
I think for me, the innovations in R&D, I think are truly disruptive. I think one of the, if you look at, when you look at nature's meet science, these ingredients are nature grown, so they're all available. I mean, they've been there for years, okay, but they might have been in a corner of the world, out of sight. So I think the one innovation that I think is been incredible is we use a technology that has that is actually kind of like crowdsourced. That has an incredible ingredients database, of anything, Western research, any type of research to really provide, indications of health benefits of specific ingredients, and also, everything around, the supplier, and other things that we worry about, allergens. All of the things that people care about that buy products. So I think that whole process before is incredibly cumbersome, collecting paper documents, and that whole, what this company has done in terms of, digitizing that content and making it accessible has been incredible for us.
That's great.
Great. Our next question comes in from Naveen. He writes, being in the wellness industry is a very demanding executive role. How do you find balance in your life and with your time?
It's I have this, I focus on what I call the 3 M's. Okay. I mean, I have the, next to my work, I kind of have the 3 H's and the 3 M's. It's like make, move, and meet. Okay. So every day, I have to do something of each of the M categories. So, traditionally the make translates into cooking dinner. Okay. So that's an easy one. And the move is, try to exercise, because I think that is super important, especially, now that everybody's working from home, it's very easy to not move and just sit on your chair all day. And then the meet is to, find like an hour per day to meet with somebody on, a lot of it is on Zoom, okay, because you can't really, you can't really go out of the house. Especially, I live in New York. We're still very much in a lockdown. But those are the things that I try to do every day to kind of find that work-life balance and quality of life.
I think that's a very well said, and I like how you go through 3 H's and 3 M's. I love that.
That's wonderful. Okay, our next question is from Michael. He writes, can you share a few tips, best practices when it comes to inspiring everyone in your team to deliver on a common innovative purpose?
Sure. Yeah. So I think, for me, I think what is really interesting about IT is, and especially when you look at the technology footprint right now, there has never been a better time in IT to fully take control of your destiny. We have managed services, and whether you like it or not, nobody in IT is always, there's always something to. Nobody's ever totally happy with managed services because you give control to somebody else to do the work, and you're not pushing the buttons yourself. So I think for me, the most compelling element right now in IT is that with digital work and digital robots, you can build your own outsourcing. You can make it exactly the way you want it. What are we waiting for? So I think the vision that we really have as an IT organization is, we want to build an IT organization that really runs on the use of digital technology. That's our vision, and we leverage, these modern platforms. Ashu talked about Azure. We are an Azure customer. We leverage the Azure platform to really build that reality for ourselves. Because what we really want to do as an IT organization, we want to, manage our own destiny. Be the partner that the business wants, but manage it in the way we really want it to. So that's really the vision that we've put together, and I think people like that because it's very rewarding to be able to you kind of you build your own people by programming them, so it's very rewarding for a lot of people.
Very well.
That's wonderful. Our next question is from Chris. He says, I know you mentioned your curiosity has helped lead you where you are today. Will you please share some other career tips for aspiring leaders?
Sure. I think one of the things that, I look at, your role is here. As an internal IT organization, your role is to make the business successful using technology. I think you really need to think about your purpose, and find a way to show your value within that purpose. The other thing I think, which has been something that I'm passionate about in terms of advancing your career, is technology at the end of the day is the largest secular economic trend of the last 20 years. It's a serious industry. And so, the other tip that I would say is you are empowered to make decisions because, you are sitting in one of the biggest and fastest growing industries in the world. And, you don't need to ask permission for every single technology change you do to a business leader, because very often, it's not something they can really weigh in. So understand, the power and the importance of you making the right decision. Obviously, communication around that is super important, but, sometimes, you don't need to ask permission. The expectation really is that you own the technology and you got it.
I think it's very important, Maria, what you just said, because there are a lot of the times we find that leaders have ideas, but they don't understand technology landscape or the depth at the level that you and I do. And I think it's our responsibility to lead them in the right direction, delivering solutions to them on what we believe are the right ways to go about it, and articulating it and communicating it in a way that they understand it. I think is more important rather than waiting for them to take a lot of decisions. And then, I think the whole, buy online, pick up in store, buy online, return in store. There are so many different things that technology has enabled, as just an example from a retail perspective, that it's, that we couldn't think of before. The online shopping experience has changed dramatically. And a lot of it is driven by technology that you and I have to take calls on and decide on. So I'm 100% agreeing with what you're saying. Absolutely.
That's great. Our next question is from Suzanne. She writes, when I think of Nature's Bounty and now the Bountiful Company, I think of access. Has this been the organization's goal from the very start? And how do you build and maintain trust as a long-term supplement solution?
So access for us is obviously very important, and our distribution is incredible. Okay, we have we have great partnerships with tons of retailers, and you can find our products everywhere. So access is super important, but also accessibility. So how do you know that you're picking the right product for your health state? So we're doing quite some innovations in that space, specifically in online to help people, select the right product mix. We're also coming out with innovations around, what we call dietary supplement packs, where, specific, if you're an athlete, you probably need, a little bit more magnesium because that's good for your muscles. So we really try to make it easier for people to find the formulation that they need, knowing that this is still a complex category of product for any consumer.
Great. Okay, and then from Ella, with the wellness industry changing at such a fast pace, especially since COVID, what do you feel will be the biggest changes in the next few years? I know you touched on this a little bit during the chat.
I think the expansion of the ingredient category, so like the FDA, especially with the hemp and marijuana derived products. I mean, and the there's a lot more focus on the benefits versus the vices of the product. Okay, and it's an incredibly interesting category of products that we have really just started to explore and build science around, because nobody was doing health research around marijuana ever. Okay, so there's a lot of ingredients in that space that are getting a second look, and from a health benefit perspective. So I think that's going to be a very interesting area of innovation, but also a very challenging area because of some of the laws and the classification of the ingredients. So I think that's going to be an area of still incredible growth over the next 10 to 20 years, I believe.
So Maria, one question on that. So do you think in your arena there will be more regulation because now you're getting these products that are borderline, need to be controlled, regulated, versus a traditional vitamin supplement kind of a business where, protein powders, things that were not that much regulated? Do you see a need for more dealing with more regulation as you move forward?
I think we are a very regulated industry. Okay, already. So we have we are very regulated already. I think the thing that really I think is going to the science around, we know about that marijuana can make you high, but we know nothing because there's very little research done about the health benefits of these ingredients. So I think there's a lot of ingredients where we looked at them as vices, and they were never really taken into account in research. Maybe opioids as a one that actually became a painkiller. But so I think there's a lot more. I think there's going to be especially with there's going to be more research around like what are the benefits for these products that have drawbacks, and how do we balance that? But I obviously as a company, when you have a focus on delivering great health outcomes, we don't want to put our consumers at risk in any way. But I think the science around some of these more traditional ingredients is going to be very interesting over the next 10 years. I mean, and there's a lot of things around legislation that need to change, of course, to kind of like allow us to use these specific ingredients. And we are very careful about this, but it's interesting that you have this whole category of ingredients, natural ingredients, that have never really been researched because of the fact that they were put into a box, somewhere in the 60s. So very interesting.
Very interesting.
Speaking of trends, the personalized vitamin packets that are now kind of on subscription base are quite interesting, as an interesting concept, and where they send them to your house every 30 days. What do you think about that? And is that something that your organization has thought about diving into?
Yeah, so we have quite a significant online business, actually. It's called Puritan's Pride. So we've worked with subscriptions before. So we're definitely interested in looking at that again. I think what's really good about COVID and everything, people want to develop healthy habits. Okay, so if we can deliver something that is easy to consume and and basically and where people can kind of like get into a daily habit of it, it helps people maintain a great health state. The other big trend, I think, is gummies. I mean, it started as something that children, that you gave children. Okay, now now everybody takes gummies. It's a very interesting platform. I think it's an interesting platform beyond dietary supplements. Why isn't that something, why, if you go to get a prescription medicine, why isn't that a gummy? Okay, like, you obviously need to protect it from your kids, okay, but it's much better than to swallow a difficult pill or something. So I think that formats is definitely something that's going to be an area of innovation. The other format that I personally like, but I'm not sure that it's going to go far, is the e-cigarette. Not because of the the e-cigarette, but it's your lungs have an incredible surface for absorption. So if you think about administering medication or any type of thing, it's a great way to get something absorbed really quickly. So I think there's really interesting innovation in formats that we will see over the next couple of years.
Yeah, and liquids and tinctures as well.
Yes.
Vitamins and minerals. That's very interesting as well. Great. Well, that wraps up our Q&A. Thank you very much for your questions. On behalf of WindWire, I would like to extend my gratitude to both Marij and Ashu for a wonderful session. Today's event will be available on our website for on-demand access by going to windwire.com. If you want to stay on top of the latest news, technology solutions, and events, please follow us on our LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook pages for up-to-date information. Thanks again, and see you again.